Some NPCs are smarter than others. For example, this guy can see and appreciate my outfit,
You're always welcome here, noble sir.
while this one is unable to realize he's currently blinded. That's because NPC intelligence is one of the most difficult and resource-heavy things to program in games. And every developer has to balance how much brainpower their characters need while considering hardware limitations of the average player. Some games feature incredibly complex behavior trees, where NPCs have daily routines, needs, and spatial awareness. And others have NPCs that are able to do two simple things: walk and attack. So today I welcome you to check out the deeper breakdown, the 7 levels of NPC intelligence in games. Everyone knows Minecraft. Giant sandbox. You do whatever you want. But in a world that's pretty much dead. And not really reactive. There are creatures moving around, but they are incredibly simple. Except for villagers, they carry some secrets with them. But let's start with animals that just walk around, and if they can, they will eat something. But it's not like they need to eat something or they will die. Then you've got more advanced creatures like piglins in the Bastion. You give them gold, they throw items at you. And they have basic conditions for whether they attack you or not. A single piece of golden gear on you and you're safe. Just need that little bit of drip. But all of this is extremely simple. I'd call this the wooden level of NPC, because these things barely differ from a log. Look at this villager. The difference between him and a log is that one of them moves and you can right click on it to trade. Just kidding. It's not the end of their intelligence. I always thought they were just walking blocks. But they can also share food with each other. How good of them to do so. They also work hard to have new items for sale. They just stand next to their work block. What I never expected though is the fact that they have daily schedules. And in these schedules they have a lot, and I mean a lot of time to do this one vile thing. Gossip. Yeah, they are gossiping every single day. These shady creatures. Be a good guy. Trade with villagers and prices get lower even with the ones you didn't yet trade. But attack one villager enough times and prices across entire village get worse. Were we here? Gossip may be hidden. That was the lowest level of NPC intelligence here. Only on the next level will we see the beginning of simulation, or rather, the illusion of it. The Witcher 3 is a gorgeous fantasy RPG that I absolutely love. As the Witcher in an open world, you hunt and fight monsters, solve mysterious cases and meet tons of different NPCs that are highly scripted and prepared for their specific missions. But when it comes to the raw behavior of NPCs outside of these scripted missions, well, the characters feel realistic as long as you're in the middle of a quest. Everything seems to make sense then. They keep talking, they have really interesting stories, they say funny jokes, and it feels like they are actually living in this world. But they are just playing out their script, a theatrical role, and outside of that role, it's made of cardboard. I'd call this scriptelligence. The NPC has a clear path to follow, to go from point A to B, and at 30% of the route say this line, then check if the Witcher opened the door. If he did, then move forward. Clear instructions. But beyond those instructions, not much. NPCs have some basic routine. They do some pseudo job, they pretend to do. They walk around town all day, go to the tavern and say some funny lines.
The beholder wept.
But they don't even have a layer of reacting to things in any complex way. Like, check this out. These virtual people operate more like a crowd rather than separate entities. The Witcher walks up, puts out a candle, they suddenly panic, grab their heads, and few seconds later everything's fine again. But unlike at previous level, here they at least pretend to be alive. Level 2 was just scriptelligence and some pretending sprinkled on top. Now we move to something more resembling a simulation rather than just illusion. Skyrim, also a fantasy RPG in an open world, where you use swords, magic and a massive range of other weapons and methods of dealing with monsters. Here, more freedom of choice is given to both the player and the NPCs. The jump in their intelligence is really significant. Every NPC has their own name, their own homes, their own schedule. They have goals to accomplish and a whole range of behavior loops they can go through to complete their tasks, which is genuinely impressive for when Skyrim came out. On the other hand, there is a lot of room for what you'd call junk. Where the ideas of smart NPCs meet 2011 reality. Unlike level 2, here we can experience a wider array of reactions. For example, the NPCs can comment on your faction, based on your outfit.
I know thieves' guild armor when I see it. You're not fooling anyone.
They feel a bit more alive. And yeah, NPCs react to some things, but it feels pretty stiff. They are not really ready for just how many possibilities exist in this game. They will react to a dragon attacking a village, sure, but cast a powerful spell in a city center and nobody will notice. They can also guard their homes and get annoyed when someone trespasses.
You're not supposed to be here. You should have listened. Go.
But they still lack spatial awareness. NPCs don't fully grasp what's happening around them. An NPC will walk straight into a wall of cheese and just keep going as if that wall was never there. He didn't register it at all. Quick note, I'm talking about general NPC intelligence here and not combat AI. There are games where combat AI is mercilessly brutal, but that's a different thing entirely. Despite this, NPCs are actual individuals with their own lives here. And some reactivity is starting to show. But for an NPC to be actually intelligent, it first has to be reactive. But then just reacting isn't enough. You have to be ready for a lot. In Skyrim, NPCs will notice only bits of what's going on. But what if they noticed more and also reacted and took action based on what they see? Hitman is a game where you play as the titular hitman. Every map starts you with a mission, a contract to eliminate a specific target. There is always a massive number of ways to do it. You can finish a lot of missions really fast. No finesse, just sniping someone from across the map. Or you can disguise yourself as 10 different people, get close to the target, extract information from them, and eliminate them through some staged accident. Everything happens on relatively small maps. But these maps have incredible depth and are built mainly around social systems. There is a ton of stuff that's heavily scripted and ready for specific scenarios. But NPCs here are really receptive of their surroundings and changes that happen in the environment known to them. NPCs have routines, their own tasks, their own goals, their own jobs that they need to do. And if they don't do them, other NPC may notice. They travel along their task loops, and the player acts as a disruptor who can break those loops. When you interrupt a loop, the NPC will have a method for how they react to that interruption. And there is always a lot, and I really mean a lot of methods to do so. They are ready for almost everything. This example will illustrate it better. First, I dropped a gun on loop of another guard. He instantly noticed it.
Jeez. That is not a toy.
Quick bonk and somebody noticed. They must have heard it. He instantly started seeking help. Soon after that, another guard came. He instantly called the base.
Need help. Over. Holy shit. It's me. I got a body on the ground. This doesn't look good.
Then he wakes up his friend.
Hello? Snap out of it. So, do you know who it is, or? He's wearing a waiter's uniform. Thank you. I'm on it.
They know how to react to interruptions they might encounter. It's quite similar to what can be seen in Baldur's Gate 3. So you've got the map simulation, the task loops, and on top of that, NPCs making their own smaller decisions. Except the crowd NPCs. They aren't as smart, their intelligence is closer to Minecraft pig. There is also a big difference from Skyrim in terms of junk in Hitman. There is way less of it. But what also matters to me is how NPCs behave outside of missions. In missions, they can be highly scripted and prepared for the narrow range of situations that mission contains. And every Hitman map is basically a single mission. So what I'm looking for is how they function when there is no specific scripted task for them in a grand plan. Another open world game on this list. For some reason, smart NPCs like living in open worlds. This time it's not fantasy though. In this game, action takes place in 1899 in the American Wild West. Gone are the swords. Gone is the magic, in come the revolvers, robberies, and a very beautiful and complex NPC system. Here NPCs have their own lives that they lead. Kinda. They have routines, wake up and work, eat, drink, sleep and repeat. They also have a gargantuan number of things they are prepared for, and they give an incredible sense of realism.
Mr. Sheriff, you're pathetic, my friend.
You got any idea who you're flapping your gums at?
Chasing after real men with your badge.
I reckon it's time you were gone. What do you think?
You can really feel the next level here, but that intelligence here is largely a diorama. A show. It looks impressive, but NPCs sometimes feel like actors.
Move your ass!
They see their surroundings, and if you run towards them, they react. And depending on what kind of person they are, they react differently. An armed guy on a horse, scared, pulls his gun immediately. Some worker annoyed that you're bothering him.
I would really appreciate some space.
Other people ask if you've lost your mind running into them like that. And someone else gets angry instantly and throws fists right away. All kind of situations. The variety here is absolutely nuts. If you stand next to an NPC who is working and just stare at them, they start getting annoyed, telling you to stop standing over them, that you're bothering them and to f off.
Could you give me a little space?
They remember things that were done to them, even dumb stuff, and they also react whether your clothes are dirty. Okay, but that's a lot, let's sum it up so far. They have some senses, and they are also reacting accordingly to who they are. And they also have their own lives, routines, and even hobbies. That is just drinking mostly. But it goes further. I spotted a camp in the woods. A random guy sits there, so I decided to walk over and try to have a talk. Because in this game, you can have conversations with NPCs in different ways, even outside of missions. After the conversation, he was a bit weird and left his own camp along with all his belongings. Just left it for me. And the system has also some kind of limits, because if you hurt an NPC, they will go and try to report it, supposedly looking for someone to tell. But sometimes the mischievous acts get reported anyway, magically. Here I released a herd of sheep to see what happens. I myself herded this in a mission earlier, but nobody cared when I let them out. All the sheep walked away. But these guys didn't care a little bit. There is a ton of systems in this game, really cool ones, but obviously they are not ready for everything. They react, they pretend to live, and they may even remember some of your past wrongdoings. But what if you threw all that out and just focused on what's happening in real time, on the entire map, all at once, where every NPC thinks they are the main character? This is a tough one. Rain World is a game where you're a small, cute little creature. A cat, kinda, who got separated from their family by accident, fell into deep underground canals, and the mission is to survive in a cruel world where everything wants to eat you. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is very impressive and has a ton of different systems, but what I think is even more impressive are the creatures here, in the Rain World. These creatures would live there without you. They are autonomous. Here, the player character is just a part of the game, not the center of it. And the life here is not just an illusion. Every creature has its own goals. They need to eat, so they hunt. Then they need to hide from the titular rain that simply washes everything off the map. If they don't survive, they are gone. Forever. They will not respawn. Every creature has a unique ID. So, if it doesn't survive, you won't see it again, ever. And also, a creature in a species can have different personality than their brother and sisters. And that personality affects how aggressive or nervous they are. Along with even more traits, but not intelligence itself. And it's easy to seem smart if you have everything scripted for you. But here, creatures can absolutely make mistakes too, just like me, the player. Lizards often try to jump somewhere and don't make the landing, because animations themselves are procedural. The game's AI dictates how a creature moves through the environment. So it all depends on terrain shape, which kinda explains why the movement looks so organic and kinda junky. So the monsters have needs. They have goals, they have limbs they can move. Personal traits that they are given. But it goes even deeper. For creatures, the player is just another wild animal inside that rainy terrarium. The whole system actively simulates itself off-screen. You can walk into a room and a fight is already happening. You can feel it easily, that you are just a part of the ecosystem. Here I died to the sneaky rope-looking plant. But the game didn't even stop after that. The fight continued anyways. There is even a reputation system. Depending on what actions you take, the little cat you play as will be seen differently by the creatures. With really good reputation, creatures can start helping Slack Cat, or ones that were previously a serious threat may become passive. And there are even more advanced creatures called scavengers. They can even communicate, and when they do so, they do it in a funny way, showing intent using their long, wonky arms. I call these autonomous NPCs. They have their own goals, tools, and spatial awareness. They are playing their own game, fighting for their own survival. But simple autonomy isn't everything. The Rain World is a living ecosystem driven by instinct. But that's exactly it. It's just instinct. On the final level, we get the full package. Mixing of everything with some extra smart skills. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a story-driven medieval RPG. This game focuses a lot on realism. The story is based on actual history. The combat is highly advanced to resemble the old times. And the NPCs were also made with that realism in mind. For the first version of the game, Warhorse, the studio behind the game, concluded an actual study to ensure they make their NPCs smart, realistic and optimized. And this is second iteration of their NPCs, even smarter than before. All of this to simulate about 2400 NPCs on the span of entire map. In this level, everything comes together. The diorama of Red Dead, the simulation of Rain World, and the reactive loops of Hitman. Here, NPCs are like actors, but ones that can improvise. They have their needs, tasks to complete, routines, places to get to. These NPCs are based on a system called GOAP, Goal-Oriented Action Planning. Sounds tough, but let me explain it simply. Take Václav here for an example. Václav in current state is hungry, so his goal is not to be hungry anymore. He knows there are possible actions such as eating, cooking or ordering food. All of these actions have preconditions though. He can't order food if he has no money. So he selects a solution that will best satisfy his hunger that is possible for him. Very much so as we do in real life. And the game is built like that, with realism in mind. The backstage magic here is kept minimal. If NPC changes clothes, they go to a chest and literally take out new clothes and leave old ones in there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let me show you an example of how I robbed an NPC to see their reaction. Usually, when NPC sees you and then you rob their stuff, you can get caught, even if not caught red-handed. And this was my original goal here. But something else happened and it really shocked me. I didn't see that before in my 100 hours of gameplay.
What the hell is this? What are you poking around that door for, huh?
First, the NPC somehow didn't realize it was me who robbed her, even though she saw me there just a minute ago.
Give him a bit longer before I take him to the knackers. I don't want to wait for him to bite someone. He is.
So I decided to follow her, to see what she did after. And check this out. First, she ran upstairs to check if other stuff is missing in the tavern where she worked. Then, in the panicked state, she ran outside. Alright, so I followed her, and it turned out she was running to her house to see if she was robbed there. Poor tavern woman thought she was being targeted. Right after that, she started screaming for help. The common folk didn't care much.
Where is everyone?
And there was no guard nearby to help her. Shortly after though, she found a guard and told him about the case. And then he even started investigating. That was just crazy for me. And it doesn't stop at theft. Check out the reactions to Stinky Henry.
Did you sleep in a barn or what?
Oh, have you been rolling in shit?
So the NPCs react to environment really dynamically, often similar to what we do in real life. A normally closed door is somehow unlocked. The village folk will react to it. The storage room is unlocked. Why? Better check if anything is missing. Then they look around, search for suspicious people. The NPC actually has to physically walk the path and check these things. It's not just an illusion, but a simulation.
What are you doing here?
So yeah, between tracking stolen goods, checking unlocked doors and reacting to how you smell, NPCs are constantly running complex math in their heads. They assess your local reputation, your global reputation, the cleanliness of your clothes, the health of your outfit, all before deciding how to greet you.
You're always welcome here, noble sir.
They react to a genuinely massive number of things happening in the game. And it's hard during normal gameplay to actually push past the limits of what they can handle. They seem to be ready for almost anything. And that concludes level 7. The NPC intelligence is pretty advanced, but these NPCs can still be broken and tricked. And if you wanna see how, then check out my previous video. And make sure you subscribe.